Hello, hello. How's everyone doing tonight? I was almost late. I hope you guys are having a great day. We are going to start off with working on our girl superhero. And I am very excited about doing this superhero with you guys tonight. So when you hop on, be sure to say hello so that I know you're there. Hi, Shalana. Hi, Danny. This is the girl. Hi, Beth. This is what we're going to do tonight. We are going to color her. And I am very excited about it. So I hope you guys are too. I feel like this one is going to take a little while for us to do with all of the explaining and stuff. So I haven't actually chosen anything for a card base at this point. But if we end up having a little bit of time, then we will go ahead and do that one. Then we will go ahead and put together a quick and simple card, quick and easy card. But for now, I want to focus on coloring because the hair is different than we normally do. The skin is different than we normally do. There's fire. There's all kinds of stuff. So I want to make sure that we actually have time to touch on those techniques. Hi Cheryl, I'm good. I'm a little stressed. It's been a long day. Getting everything together for the next release. So yeah, it just goes and goes. It never stops. So, yes, we got this girl. We have some fire. I'm not sure if I'm going to use them or not, but we might as well color them while we're at this point. So this stamp set has some solid stamps that you can stamp in the background if you want. And one of them is this fire right here. So I definitely wanted to put the fire in here somehow, but I didn't do a mask for this. So unfortunately, I can't do exactly what I would like to do, but maybe we can do that another time. So let's go ahead and get her stamped out so we can start working with her. I really didn't have my stuff together tonight. I was still working on something else when I realized what time it was and had to rush. So I don't have a whole lot planned, so you get to see me on the fly yet again. But that's okay, because you guys know I can do it even on the fly. So no worries. I have not stamped this one out. I've just used it digitally, so we might need to do it twice. Because I was going too fast and I didn't clean this stamp set before I started stamping. So if this second one doesn't come out right, I may have to clean this stamp. Usually you should clean it the first time before you get to stamping, but oh yeah, it's pretty good, but over her eye I can see a little spot where the where it smudged just a little bit. So I am going to clean it and stamp it one more time just because I don't want it to look like there's something on her face for you guys to see on camera. So let me just get it cleaned off and we'll stamp it again and it should be fine after that. So I'm going to wet it, clean it, and dry it off just a little bit. And then we'll try one more time. No worries, I have lots of paper here, so I always keep pre-cut paper on hand so I can just roll with it as soon as I need to. So here we go, one more time. Plus, I think there's something wrong with my ink pad, which I'm very disappointed by. But after a little while, it starts getting kind of like fuzzy, like it frays a little bit. And I have like 4 or 5 of these because every time it frays, it doesn't matter if I'm adding more ink. It's just misbehaving. So I usually just buy another ink pad. I wish there were other brands that worked as well as the Memento does, but I haven't found one yet. I'm open to suggestions though, if anyone has one. I always fly by the seat of my pants. Yeah, I do. I do. Good, good. That looks pretty good. I want it to be just a little bit darker since we're going to do some darker coloring tonight. So I'm just going to stamp it one more time. But I think it's going to be just fine this time now that I cleaned it. I need a second one of those, but I could probably use that from the other one. Yeah, so we have it on here and we have it here. So if I decide to use that, I'll have 2. I do a lot of that fly by the seat of my pants, but you know, I probably wouldn't if I hadn't been coloring for so long or crafting for so long. But yeah, I can do the fly by the seat of my pants thing pretty good after doing it for so long. I mean, I always have the great intentions in the morning. Autocorrect isn't your friend. I always have really good intentions in the morning of, oh, I'm going to plan it all out, and, you know, and then I get to work. And I actually have 2 jobs right now. One is running the business and the other one is a job. I actually have a part-time regular job that I'm doing right now to help a friend. So, yeah, so I actually have 2 jobs and trying to do all the artwork and all the stuff for the new releases and run the business, and it's a lot. So sometimes it gets down to time to go live, and I haven't had a chance to get ready. So
with this character,
yeah.
I mean, you have the fire, so she can be like casting fire, but with the stars, you can make it like she's casting a spell, so she could be.
Oh, we could use the stars. That's a good idea. Yeah, the idea.
I mean, that's
like I had an idea of a girl that I wanted her to be dark skinned and African American hair and that kind of stuff. And so I had mentioned that, but this whole idea of this particular girl that Dale wanted was his idea. He wanted this particular hero. I mean, this was his thing. So
I mean, clothes, everything.
The clothes, the cape, all that was all. I mean, like I went through probably 3 or 4 other images that we just kept trashing, waiting for this one to come out the way that Dale envisioned it. So. And I know a few of you have asked for specific images that you would like to see. Maybe the people who have asked aren't necessarily on this live right now, but there are a few people who have asked for specific images. And 2 of you that have asked me are going to get your wish on the next release. So I still have a long list for those of you who don't get it this time. It's nothing against you. It's just the way the release is going to roll out this time will be some of what people have requested. So I hope you guys are going to be excited about it. It's going to be fun. I'm excited. Okay, we're going to work on skin tone first, and I am going to zoom in a little bit closer. I'm impressed with this image.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's a little bit different style, you'll see, than the other ones in the package. So these are more of like a chibi-ish with the chubby face and a little bit bigger. And then Dale was going a little more on the anime side, making her more slender and more sleek. And so it was a little bit of a shift, but
yeah, my style is
but
different
we did
than
it.
yours.
Yeah, his style is a little bit different, but it's okay to have different. Okay, so we're gonna start. Oh, I'm glad you like her, Shalana. I'm so glad. I also have a friend who's been asking me to draw these types of images for her for a while, and she is very excited about this one as well. So, okay, so we're going to start with the skin tone. Now, I have several combinations of darker, brownish, African American type skin tones that I like to use. So we're only going to use one of them tonight, but you'll see when I do other ones that I'm actually working on a whole class and kit and everything, like a retreat type thing for you guys to learn how to color. And I'm going to put it in front of the screen in just a minute. It'll be fast, so be looking now. They're going to look something like this. They're going to have my color combinations. I'm going to have pre-colored them. You'll have a chance to color them. And there are many sheets like that. So this will be one of those combinations to help you guys find the colors that you want to find. So this particular combination is going to be using the E30s. So 39 will be the shading, 37, 35, 33. 00 will be the base coat, kind of like we do E000, but whenever I do darker skin, I up it to 00. And I'm going to use R20 for the rosy cheeks. We need a little bit darker on the cheeks, a little bit darker on the undertone when we're making the skin a bit darker. So that gives you just a little bit of that base information. But I am working on a whole class type thing. I mean, like a whole thing for you guys. I've been working on it for a while. And it's not just skin, it's like skin and hair and clothes and, you know, all kinds of stuff. So you keep your eyes peeled for that, on the lookout for that. It will be a lot of fun and very helpful for those that want to learn. I kind of generated it because Dale wanted to learn how to use markers, and he needed the lessons. So more about that later. Let's get started. This is going to look like I'm about to do regular Caucasian skin tone, but I'm not. So just follow along with me and you'll see. If you have your image, you can stamp her out and play along with me, or I'll upload it to YouTube. I'll add all the marker colors so you'll be able to follow along if you want to watch it later. I left her belly hanging out because I think that's cool. That makes her just look that much cooler. And she's got this cool little headband on. We're just going to put this all over everywhere except her eyes. We're going to leave her eyes alone, but her ear, we don't want to forget her little ears in there when we're coloring it. There we go. So now we have our base coat. You can see it a lot better than you can when we do like the Caucasian type skin tones. And we need it to be that way. But I feel like whenever you use browns for more of a brown skin tone, I feel like you have to put something that has that natural creamy color underneath it. Otherwise, those browns just look like a tree, or they look like a piece of wood, or that, you know, you really need that extra little bit, and that's why we put E00 underneath. I would not look cool with my belly hanging out. I would not either, but she sure does. Love that you're doing darker skin tones. Most of my family is colorful. See, that's great. Yes. So I have a friend who challenged me. She would give me pictures of the members of her family and then ask me to match the skin tones of all of her colorful family. And that's how I learned to come up with the combinations that I use. So it was really helpful. I made projects with images for all her close friends and family. So it was fun. It was a good challenge, and it was very helpful. So we're going to start with E39, and this is going to feel really dark. So we're going to go with just a little bit of it not too much. I'll tell you, the only time I ever threw away an image was when I was first learning darker skin tones like this. And I kept, you know how I sometimes correct when I'm coloring, like I'll just change to a different color or just darken it if I don't like it or whatever the case may be. Well, I had to make so many corrections, and by the time I got done, I couldn't even see the facial features on the girl, so I had to throw that away. I don't normally throw away any of my artwork because if I've worked that hard, I've got to find a way to fix it. I don't want to throw away all that work. So I don't generally throw that away. So you'll notice that I put the shadow all around her face. That's because her hair is so big in this particular image, but I am going to make more of the light coming from this direction. So I'm putting more of the shadow on this side. So I'm going to do the same thing with her belly, like making more of the shadow on one side, just so that you can tell. This one, I'm going to go up. I'm going to show significance of her hand a little bit here, and then maybe underneath some of that little part where her knuckles are. Hey, Mom. And then we're going to go here, and we're going to do a little bit under here and under here. But I'm only going to do on a couple of these fingers, but nothing on the top of that, because I want there to be more light coming from that side. So it's not a lot of this darkest color, but you will need it in the end to be able to see the shadows. So next I'm going to move to E37. I like these colors. This is actually called sepia, which some people use for, instead of a black and white photo, they'll use sepia. So this color does have a bit of that skin tone-ish color I was talking about a few moments ago, but it's still pretty dark. So I don't do a lot of going over it and over it because I don't want to darken that color. I just want that color to be what it is. So I'm touching it with an extremely light touch because I don't want to saturate the paper too much with these two darkest colors. They'll get significantly lighter after this one, so I'm okay with just playing around with this. I'm going to put just a little bit on her nose, but not much. I just want you to be able to see that nose when we get done, so I'm not going to put a whole lot, but I want it to, you know, I don't want it to fade behind all of the brown color. So I'm going to do a little bit up here. Then I'm going to come in here and go over that parts of the inside of her hand. And then I'm going to do just down here on the three fingers that are bent. Just kind of get a little more shadow there. And then I'm going to move up this arm. I'm going to keep...
Kennedy said hi.
Huh? Oh, hey, Pam. Thanks for stopping by. Okay, and then we're going to go a little bit further on this. A little bit further. And then we want to do a little bit under here, but I'm going to stick with mostly on that one side. I'm going to put just a teeny bit on the other, but not as much, you know, keeping that shadow more on that side. Now, according to the colors I chose, we really only have two more skin tones. We have the E35 and the E33. So a little bit more will go on of this E35. After that, we'll put the blush in there too. So let me start over here, same way I did before. And we're going to start moving that skin tone down. And you'll see that it's lighter, significantly lighter than the last two colors, but we have that separated line right there. So all you have to do is go over that with like a second coat right there where that line is, and it will make that line go away. See how we did that? that's the main piece you have to remember, is just, you don't have to oversaturate or keep going over it, but you do need to go over that line, otherwise you're going to see it, and that's what we don't want to see. I'm going to leave just a teeny bit left in those ears. They're really hidden behind her hair anyway, so you really struggle with skin and hair. You're not alone. That is the hardest part for most people. And with hair, the biggest thing to do is you have to learn that that flicking motion with your hand where you do this. Once you start getting this part down, that's when you can really get hair. You can start getting that hair mastered a little bit better. That is the part that's the hardest, because some people will get like really thick lines, and then it's harder to make that look like strands of hair when it's that thick. And skin tones, it's just practice. I'll bet you know how to do it. You just need to practice. So I'm just going around this hand. Gonna leave some for the last color. Her tummy, I might leave some right in the center, but most of it's gonna be covered. And look, she looks funny right now. So before we use E33, which is going to bring it all together, we're going to use our blush color, which is R20, and I'm going to put that on her cheeks. And I might need something a little darker, but we'll see. Or I might need to hit it again afterwards. E33 is our last color, so this is the one that's going to bring it all together. So we're going to start in that same motion I did with the last color. And then we're going to work that one more time. And then we're going to bring this together. Oh, I can see her blush. So I'm very happy about that. Now, if you do too much with her now, like too much going over it, then you're gonna make it too dark. So I'm just smoothing out the skin here because we use so many colors. I just wanted to smooth them all together, which we did. And you can still see the red in her cheeks. So I kind of like that. I like very subtle makeup on my girls when I color them, probably because I just don't wear very much makeup myself. But if you want darker, you can go to R22 and probably get a very good color. So I'm just blending these together, finishing out the rest that was white, giving it that thorough color. We don't want to forget those little tiny ears. Make sure we have that blended out. And then we have to do her belly as well. And then there we go. Yes, progress makes perfect. That is so true. All right. I'm going to touch her cheeks one more time with the R20, just to make sure I have enough little bit of pinks in that cheeks. So I touch them again, which means I then have to go over it again to blend that out. But I'm going to go with the E00, just because I don't want to put a second layer of that dark color on her skin. Because if I do, it will darken the bottom of her face, and then I'll have to darken the top of her face, and I'll be in this circle of unfun trying to fix. So, but you don't want to do too much with this one, because if you do too much with this one on that last, you'll lighten everything up, and you'll have to go back with the darker color. But as you can see, she blends together really nicely. It looks really good. Next, we're going to talk about hair. So there's a couple of different things with hair, especially that kind of hair. So those are very small. So they're very tiny. They're very tiny, like, I don't know, maybe you call them, they're kind of like dreads, sort of, but they're very skinny. I like them that way. But, so we're going to use a technique that's going to almost replicate what we would do on a large piece, but I'm going to show you the easier way to do it. This hair does take longer. It just does. We can go with like a very dark black, or we can go with a lighter black, or we can even put a color in it if we want. So let's see. I think I want to go with, I think I'm going to go with the ends this time. And I am going to go all the way up to the N10. And I'm also going to take the 110. So there's two black markers. One is 100 and one is 110. 100 is cool and 110 is the warm one. So when you're using W's or N's, you want to use 110. And when you're using C's and T's, you want to use 100. So just so you know that. That is the reason that I took that one. And I won't start with that one. I'll end with that one. And you'll know what that means in just a minute when we go over it. Now, if I want to add a color to this and still make her hair black, but give her a color, which I think we should do just so you can see it, we would do that color underneath, kind of like we do with regular hair. This is N10, 8, 7, and 6. And I think I'm going to go with like maybe a really light purple. So let's see what these two colors look like to see which one we should put under there. This is, I think we're going to put her in some purple because purple and yellow and red and stuff will look all good together. So this is N22. I'm not sure that's quite as dark as I want. So let me try maybe V12. Yeah, I think I like that better. And it will have some of that next to it. Let's see if it goes good together. And I think we'll get some purple out of that. So we're going to use that one. It'll just give us a teeny bit. We may have to pull in 5. Let's pull 5 as well, and 5 as well. So I'm going to start off with the purple, the V12. This is just going to give us an undertone of a purple color for this hair. It just gives it a little bit of design and style, so we're just going to do that. So I'm kind of just doing the center part of some of these to mark those spots so that I don't color over all of that with the darkest colors. And then we'll come back in later on and touch up that purple in a little bit. So I'm just adding some. These are the ones in the front, so they'd have a little bit more. These are the ones in the back, so just a teeny bit. So just adding in a little bit on there. I didn't touch necessarily every single one of them. I just wanted a little bit under there for now. Now, you can just color these in dark, whatever color you want, if that's how you want to do it. But hey, I'm going to kind of start touching on individual strands in order to keep them separated. But again, like I said, it's pretty small, so you have to pick and choose how you do it. So this is N10. We're starting with N10. And the 110 is darker, so we'll come in later and deepen these colors. Now, the big thing I could tell you about this is you're going to notice that I am not going to do these in straight lines at all. because all of the lines in here are not straight lines. They're wavy lines, because I'm showing you where each one of those would indent like this. Okay, so we can make them look like they're rolled, like a dread would look. So I'm going to start with the ones that are over the other ones so I can get some of that depth in there. And this is what we'll go back in with the darker color and make it even darker at the end, at the very, very end, so we can keep that dark depth in there. So kind of going underneath where each one of them overlaps. That's what's getting us our shadow area in there. And that's pretty important if you're wanting to make these look like they're laying on top of each other, but you do not want to do it in a straight line, otherwise you lose that hair factor. So while you don't have to do it like specifically right on the money, as long as you have it like a little bit here, a little bit there, it'll show. It's kind of like cheating, but it still works. So this one right here is over top of the one behind it. So the shadow for this one is going to actually go behind it instead of in front where the other ones went. And then once you get to here, this one is over top of this one. So now I'm going to go underneath the line. So you have to really watch which one is over the other so that you can get that look. This one is on top, this one is underneath. So up here. This one is over both of those. And then this one is in the back. So we're going to do that very same thing. I'm going to put a little bit of depth right here in where her part is. This one's behind. This one's behind. I'm going to flip her around so I can see her a little better. These are under this one, so our color is going to go underneath here, and then right here, and at the top, and then under this one, under this one, under this one. This one is over. There we go. Then this one under. And don't worry if you get one wrong, no one's really going to notice. I know because I had to draw all of them out which one I intended to be under, but you can just choose whatever you want. Also up against her head is going to be significantly dark and around her ears, so I'm going to go ahead and put that in right now. And then that way, you can keep some of that dark under there. And the rest of it, just like that. So it doesn't look like a whole lot. It was the simple part. Now I'm going to go back in, and I know I made these two lines right here, but I am going to go back in on each one and start putting a little bit of those lines in. And I'm not going to go all the way across necessarily. I just need some coming from each direction. So some from that direction and then some from this direction. And I'm going to do that on almost every single one of these. Just getting a little bit of that in there. And it doesn't have to be in any specific order or reason. You can follow the lines that I put in there if you'd like. But even if you don't, it's so small that you can't tell, especially once you put that darkest color in there. It's more about having the dark to light than it is about being specifically accurate. So as long as you get it, and I know this is tedious, you have to do it on every one of them or you'll miss that bit of depth going on there. And this is where those little tiny brush strokes come in handy. They don't have to be perfect, just as long as you have some. I mean, we still have several colors to go through, which doesn't seem like we would because it's such a small area and we are already starting to fill it in. But we will. We will use most of them. But the darkest one in this case is more important because we need to be able to see those lines in order to give us that impression. So you can already kind of see. Can you see it kind of coming to life? That's the texture we're trying to master here. So while we could do this, if it was a bigger image, I would be spending a lot of time to go with the movement of the hair. Like everywhere it was folded in, I would do that. I would do this process and it would take me a lot longer. I have done a really large portrait with hair like this that took a really long time to do. Now braids can be like this too. I liked, when I'm doing braids, I like to put all of the little accent marks in there so you can really tell that they're braids. So I would say this is a little bit more of an advanced type of technique, but it's kind of fun. It's definitely meditative. You'll notice I kind of got quiet there for a second when I forgot I was on camera for a brief moment. I started really focusing on getting all my little lines in there. Notice my lines are not next to each other. They're just kind of in there a little bit random. And I'll bet if you've been watching me a while, you probably know what that means. It means that the next set are going to go in between. I'll have to watch the rest on YouTube. My eyes are wanting to close. Have a great night. Okay, no problem, Danny. Thank you for coming by. And I'll put the color combos, I always do, on my YouTube channel so you can watch the replay there. N8 is the next one. And what we're going to do is kind of that same process we just did. We're going to do those little lines, but we're going to try to do them opposite, like not like in between where we put the other ones. So again, it doesn't have to be exact, but you're just trying to get a few more of those lines in there. So you'll notice I'm using it less, and I'm just putting some lines in between where I put them before. So it's just starting to fill that in. And while this looks like, how are you ever going to be able to tell what you were doing? It looks like that, but in the end, I promise, it comes together looking really cool. And you don't, I mean, you can't really get it wrong. As long as you're adding the colors and doing them in between, it doesn't really matter which one you do where. As long as you have that pattern kind of going, you should be good. I love doing this hair, but I'm going to tell you, it's not my favorite thing to draw. It takes forever to draw it out. But in the end, I like the way it looks, so I'm willing to take the time to figure it out. But look at how cool it looks. I mean, you can already see it, like, coming together. And I hope people who have hair like this are happy with the way that it comes out in the end. I want to be able to do that hairstyle justice, you know? There we go. I'm going to fill in just a little bit up under here because I want to keep that kind of dark with right up close to her body, because the underside of your hair is always a bit darker. So some of that I'm filling in just a little bit. My cousin always has a different color in her hair locks. Now she has pink. That's cool. We may have to pick a brighter purple, but for now we have the base coat in there. And you kind of can't see it right now on camera, but I can really still see it. So if you're doing it, you know, at home, you'll be able to see it. You will. Even though you can't really see it too much on camera, I'll try to hold it up a little bit closer. You can see all the purple in there. It's not real bright, but it's there. And you'll be able to see it more, I think, if we put purple in her clothes, then it'll really pull that purple out of her hair. So this is the N7. This is the next step. So this is the one where I'm going to try to start making sure that, like, around the outside, if you will, is done on most of it. So I'll be making sure that the tips and such have some color in them. And the edges that are close to, that are on the outside, just so I can start getting that colored in. And I just want to make sure I get enough of that around the outside. So you can kind of see it fills in on this side, and now we're going to do that on this side, and then we'll add some more on the hair as well. I just wanted to do make sure all the outsides are done first, so I don't miss anything while I'm going along, because I'm afraid if I don't specifically focus on that part, there's so many strands of hair. I don't want to get down to the end and go, oh, I missed a section. So we're just working on the outsides first to make sure we have that all filled in. And then we'll go in and we'll start, like last time I did a lot of it going this way. This time I'm going to do it going the other way. Make sure I have some more filled in areas there. And I'm going to try to focus on the non-purple areas so I don't cover up too much of the purple. So I'm just adding them here and there. Wherever it looks like it needs a little bit of white covered up, I'm going to go ahead and start putting this color in. Just a little bit. Wherever it needs a little bit more oomph to get that colored in. So I'm just kind of eyeballing it, and you'll learn that over time when you, as you color them, you'll be able to see where they go. I think it's cool that your cousin puts a lot of colors in her locks. I think it's neat looking. I mean, if my hair would do this, I would totally do it. And you guys already know I do colored hair, purple hair, so I'd be having colors all over my hair too. But I like my hair up a lot, especially when I'm crafting. So most of the time it's up during the day. So I would totally do my hair up if I could. I have super fine hair. Usually won't even stay in a ponytail, let alone staying up like that. Okay, so now I have N6. And N6 is not going to get a lot because I think we need lighter. I think we need the N5. So I'm just going to focus on the areas that I put all of the shadow and just extend out from the shadow areas just a little bit more than what I did before. And this is going to start filling that in. And then around this headband she has on, I'm going to do with this color. So I want to keep it a little bit lighter. So wherever my like shadow areas are, and just bite off one piece at a time. Don't overwhelm yourself. You may have to look at the picture on the package to see where the breaks are in the hair if you don't know. But I mean, I drew them, so I know where they are. But if your color is dark and you need it to be, you need to be able to see where those lines are, just feel free to look at the package, will help you. Because you can see it in there. See? You can see where the lines are. So along her hairline, I definitely want to put this color along there. Along that center area, it needs to be filled in a little bit. And then we're still working in between. Just kind of softening that color so the last color will blend with it nicely. There we go. So that gets us a good amount of color there. And the last one for the gray is N5. This one is a lot lighter than the last color. So it's going to be real light. It's going to blend really nicely with this color. See how much easier that's going to be to blend together than the 6 was? That's why I went ahead and went with the 5. So wherever I can see the purple like really strongly, I'm not going to put any of this gray on that. But I'm going to just start touching. And I'm just touching it like this to fill in the white area that I want. So I'm not doing any kind of blending or anything. I'm just filling in by touching it with the other color. We'll do a little bit more blending when we come back with the purple. That will be our last. That will be our last one before we do a bit of the shadow if we need it. Sometimes we need it, sometimes we don't. But I will definitely show you the difference between the two so you can decide when you're doing yours which one you like better. So that really starts filling it in, but you can tell it still kind of looks like there's, I don't know, a little bit of white or a little bit of purple or however you want to look at that. But all that will fill in when we use when we use the purple again. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to see the purple if we covered everything with this one. And we want to be able to see that. So, there we go. That is it for N5. Now we're going to come back in with this V12. And this time, instead of lightly touching, I'm going to touch a little bit heavier like this. I'm going to do it in the same manner. I'm just going to touch a little heavier so it puts a little bit more purple into those areas so that you can see it. So a little bit more pressure than what you used with the previous color. And again, I'm just tapping it in there. Definitely not blending it in there. I don't really want a lot of blending. This hair doesn't look like blended hair like you would see on some of the other images we do. This one you really want to be able to see all the lines. So can you see the purple coming through just a little bit? You'll be able to see it better when you see the outfit, when we do the outfit and we have purple included. But I'll hold it up when I get done in just a minute. And then I'm going to do one side with the accents of that 110. And then I'll let you see the difference between one side and the other. You can decide which one you like better and if you want to add that last color in there. So I really am trying to touch every strand, every section of hair to get some of this purple in there. I did get a little bit outside the lines right there, but we can fix that with the colorless blender, so not too worried about that. So right now, like when you're not on camera, you can really see the purple in there. Can you see it? It'll stand out more when you get the rest of it colored. But now, doesn't her skin tone look lighter than it did when we first did it? It's funny how that works. This is the 110, and I'm going to do this side of her hair so you can see what it looks, what the difference between the two is. And basically, I'm just going to go in and repeat what I did with the very first step. So that is going in between whichever one is over the other. So we can put that shadow back in. It's just going to enhance the depth between each strand of hair. And this is why I said we probably wouldn't do a card, because I knew this process was going to take a little while. Because you have to have some TLC for this type of hair, for sure. Now, can you see, let's see if I can get the light to shine right on this, the difference between the two? This one looks so much more defined than this one does. Hopefully you can see that. I'm trying to get the light to be just right. You can see it for real in real life, but it's a little harder on camera. But this one is more defined. This one looks a little more smudgy. So if we go in here with this 110 and start building in this line again, you'll be able to see that separation better. And I'm still doing it with those jagged lines. You do not want to do it without the jagged lines, otherwise it'll look funny. Just defining each strand where they meet up, which one's over the other, which you already figured out when you did it the last time. And then you can really see it. So hopefully you can see it a lot better now. Maybe if I turn this light just a little bit off of it, it won't be so bright and you'll be able to see it. But her hair looks very defined. It doesn't look like a big smudgy mess. Now, if you wanted to see the purple a little bit more, I would just grab my V15 and just do the same, just adding a little bit in those really light areas of this darker purple. And it'll start bringing that purple out just a tad bit more than it was already. And I do kind of want to see that purple just a tad bit more. But I'm only going to put it on the top of her hair. I'm not going to put it on the underside. Just these front areas that you see. And that'll just make it a little bit darker. Isn't that cool? It is cool, isn't it? It's not hard. It's just time consuming. It just takes a little bit of extra time and TLC to get that really cool hair. So I'm going to keep these purples out because we're going to put purple in her outfit so that it really makes her hair stand out. So this right here is just a design on her pants, but I made it like in a fire type pattern because I thought that was pretty cool. So we're going to save those for red and yellow to make it look fire-ish. You think it looks amazing? It takes a little practice, but I sure love it when you get done, you know. And you can do that with any color. I mean, we could have used all purple if we wanted. Red looks really good mixed in there. I've done that before, and I kind of like that. I've never done them blonde, but I do like the way that works. So I think we'll make her cape purple and probably her shoes. And then we'll play around with the rest. So let's go ahead. Usually I pull in like the V6, but I'm not going to do that this time because I want to keep this more of a purple, so really it shows up in her hair a little better. So for her outfit, we're going to choose like this V09. And then we're going to choose V17. We need one in between there. Let's go with let's try V17. I don't really like that. I think BV08 is the one I usually go to. BV08 first or second, either way. So we'll use V09, BV08. We need one a little bit darker than that V17, which is why I usually pull in V06. But I don't think V06 is going to work for us this time. So we'll just do tip to tip, and that'll help us. Okay. V09, BV08. Then we'll use V17, V15, and V12. So those 15 and 12 are what we put in her hair. So we'll be able to see her. Hey, Christina. Thank you. I'm glad you like her. I love her. She's so much fun to color. But we're going to go ahead and start with her jacket in these purples. Now, I usually don't do dark colors before I do light colors, but in this case, I'm going to do it. So we're going to have to be careful when we get down to the other colors, so we don't drag any of our dark colors. So for these little accent pieces I have right here on her jacket, I'm going to go ahead and put those in the dark purple, just so I don't lose them. I'm going to go over her shoulder and the artist drawn lines on here. This flap is going over her, over the other part, so it needs to have some shadow in there. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in there. I think we're going to make her cuffs the really light purple, so I'm not going to put any of that in right now at all, except this underside. The underside is always darker. I'm going to put a little on her shoulder, underneath her arms. And then we're going to come down here, and this is folded over so you really can see the underside. So I'm going to make this dark where it's folded over and not on the underside. And the same thing on this side. This is underside of her cape, and this is the top side. And I want to keep that a bit darker right there. And then this is all the underside. We're going to make the underside a lighter purple, so I'm not going to put any of this dark purple in there. I'm just going to play around with that. But I do want to make her shoes purple, so I'm going to go ahead and put just a little bit of the purple on here for now. You know, because who doesn't want purple shoes? I mean, I do. I wish I had purple shoes. I would be all over some purple shoes. I have never had purple shoes. I have Jurassic Park shoes, but no purple shoes. And I think we'll make her belts purple too, because why not? Right? Well, we got to give her some accent pieces that all match her purpliness. I'm going to switch to my BV08. This one is going to be darker and have more gray in it, so it's not going to be as bright and shiny, which is okay. But we'll be going over it with the lighter colors, so we're going to bring that real bright purple back in a little bit. So for now, just going to put a little bit of this in here. Going to... I think I'm going to go down here and build this, make it not so much of the underside showing. So I just manipulated the the image for my own personal preference. But that's okay, we can do that. Just putting a little bit on here. And then we'll go down to her shoes, and I want to continue that. I want to make her heels darker, this underside darker. We're going to put a little line where her shoelaces are, so that looks like it's kind of sunken in like shoelaces do. You too, you would love purple shoes. This is a regular stamp. It's not a digital. This is part of the superheroes. She's in this superhero themes. She's in this one. She's the release for this month, superheroes. bang, there she is in all her beautifulness. All right. So now we have that one. Now we're going to switch to that V17, and I am going to keep out V09 because we may have to do a little bit of tip to tip to get this to come up, blend really nicely. I have blended these together before. I don't know why they don't seem to want to do that right now. They might be okay. We'll see. So I'm going to do the around the outside with this one as well. And I'm going to work on getting that to blend a bit on those areas where that darkest color was. So it's looking pretty good. I like it. I like it. So moving on, I think this is the area we may struggle trying to keep that that blend working really well on these other colors right here. So we'll either have to work it a little bit or we'll have to do tip to tip, but I think it will probably blend out. I know I've done it before, but it is a little bit more of a stickler trying to blend that out. See, that doesn't look like it blended very well. So let's go ahead and pick up some of this V09 on our marker. And I know that's going to make it really dark, so I'm just going to touch it off on that paper a couple of times and kind of build this out. Yeah, that's going to be better. There we go. That worked out very nicely. So working over here, I'm going to touch this, and then I'm going to touch it here just to get some of that initial dark color off. So I don't want to darken this up too much. And then I'm going to work up here and on her collar.
Did you answer Beth?
Yes, I did. Okay. Now, this is where I'm going to start on the underside. We're going to keep it that lighter color, but this is going to be the shadow color. I know it's still pretty dark, but I'm just going to start with it right here. Right here. And then just down here towards the edge. We're also going to put a little bit on the bottom of these sleeves, because this is where we're going to start building in these sleeves being a different color. So now let's work on the shoes. I forgot there was a little piece of either skin or socks there, so we'll probably just make that the same color as the pants, but I think on the package I made it the color of her skin. So you can make it whatever you want on yours. So there goes her purple shoes. Oh, I want these purple shoes. There we go. So cute. So cute. That is all we're going to need of the V09. I'm going to wipe this off just to make sure I don't have any excess V09 on the tip of this V17 marker. And then we're going to go to V15. This is going to get much lighter and more purple, like her hair, so you'll be able to see it pull in. We're going to finish off her top layer of this jacket with this color. We have the last color to go on the underside and on the cuffs, so just going to leave a little bit for that last color. That way we make two-tone, but we're using the same colors, like a two-tone jacket. by using the same colors. So this top layer, this is the last one for the top layer, so we can keep it a little bit darker than the bottom layer. Is that a bug on my window? So extending out from where I put that last color and just starting to build that in. I ordered the bundle. She's so cute. Oh, yay! I'm so glad you like her. I like her too. I was really excited about her. I thought it would stir up some people getting excited about having this superhero girl being special. Beautiful, fun hair. Okay, so that gets us darker on the top. She's going to be lighter on the bottom. So we're going to use the V12 to finish that off.
Let's go to sleep.
So tired of going to have to watch replay. My partner's called my name. I'm so excited to get the markers. Yes, just send me a message when you want them to start. I'm so excited for you. There we go. Yay! I like the color. I hope you guys like it too. I think it's perfect. I don't think I put it on the shoes on the last color though, so we'll have to go back to that color one more time to finish that. I know, y'all, I'm tired too. I haven't been getting a whole lot of sleep lately, so I can relate for sure. And we stopped on the belt too, so we're going to have to pick that up. I won't lie, that happens to me a lot. So going back to V15, we're going to work on the shoes. We'll leave a little bit of the last color for the shoes. These are cool purple shoes. And we'll work on the belt a little bit. Do the outside of the belt in these dark colors, and we'll do that center piece of the belt with the last one, and we should be good on the purple. V12 is the last one. Yay! Okay, yeah, message me tomorrow. Okay, so this is the V12. We're just going to finish the shoes with the V12. Ah, look at those cool shoes. I'm so excited. Wish I could buy them. And then her belt. We'll finish off her belt. Hey, she is cool looking. All right. I mean, I could have made her headband purple too, but I feel like that would be too much. I need to slow the purple a little bit. I'm going to grab the N08, the N8, so I can do the soles of her boots. And you can do them in layered colors if you want, but I'm just going to fill them all in this black. I like it. It makes them stand out. There we go. Awesome. All right. So that was part of the same color we used. Oh, maybe we can give her purple eyes too. I don't know. We might get crazy. Okay. So now we need her pants and her shirt. We need the colors for that, and also for the fire, which I am actually going to make with some red and yellow, but I think I'm going to go more on the orange side than the red side, so that it doesn't look too red. I feel like red will clash with the purple a little bit, so I'm going to use a lighter So these colors right here, like R08, has more of an orange tone to it than a red tone, but it has enough red in it that it works. And then we'll move from this one to something like this to, let's see, 6, 5. Maybe we'll try this yellow. This is, I need one in between that. So this one is Y04. And I like to end on Y11 just because I really like that color. But we need one more color that's going to mesh between these two. So I'm going to try YR02. I think that'll do it. We mesh those two together. I bet it'll work very nicely. Yep. We'll just have to do a little blending with it, but I think it'll work really good. Yes, it's a pretty red, but it's not red, so you don't have to worry about the red color. And maybe we'll do this same color combination like on her headband or on her shirt so that it all kind of flows together. But for now, I'm going to start with the bottom of her pants being the red color. So red, the reddish orange color. So red starts it. So just at the base. And then I definitely want a little bit going up, but just very small flicks, if you will. Flicks, brush strokes, whatever you want to call them. Just a little bit. And then I'm thinking we're going to kind of do her shirt the same way. So I'm going to start the bottom of her shirt like this with the reddish color. And then we'll decide when we're done with the flames and stuff, what color will look best on her pants. Whether it be black or red or, you know, whatever color we decide. Let's do her headband too, because why not? We'll just blend those colors together and we'll get her going really good. She'll be on fire. YR16 will be next. I'm going to start going up using my flicks, blending that together just a little bit. I want to still see a little bit of that red coming through, so I'm not going to blend it completely out. Otherwise, it won't look like fire. And moving this one up a bit. This one I do want to blend. It's her shirt. I want it to blend a little bit nicer. I want it to look a little bit more, while it's fire color, I want it to look a little bit more like it was made, you know, in a, I don't know, monochromatic kind of way, only not the same color. Does that make sense? Am I just crazy? Oops, we don't want to forget her headband. We need to do her headband too. So we're going to start just moving that up. She's going to be so pretty. She's almost going to be Halloween colors a little bit. YR02 going to be next. Like I said, I'm just winging this tonight. I did not choose my colors earlier, so we're just playing it by ear, whatever we feel like doing. There we go. Now we're going to work on this part. So we're going to start moving up a little bit more. And up here on her headband. See, we can't make her eyes orange or red. We have to make them a different color. Now this yellow is going to get really bright. And then the oh, that's a good combination right there. That moves from orange to yellow very nicely. I'm also adding a little bit of yellow down there in the red, just so that it has that same shift of color. But yeah, that is a nice combination. I like that. Next, we're going to go up here. Moving up her shirt a little bit more. Now remember, I said I wanted that one to blend a little bit better, so I do have to work with that one a little bit longer to get that to blend nicely. But it looks like it's going to behave. Yeah, it worked. Oh, we need to do her headband too. So you'll notice I am putting this yellow over the orange, the last orange color for sure, to get that, and then it will blend a bit of that yellow out, that orange with the yellow, and get us a really smooth blend. I like it. I usually add R46 or even R89 to my red color at the bottom if I have a much larger space. But I didn't tonight. These are tiny spaces. I also start this last color from the top because I don't want to pull any of that orange into this color. I just want it to be that bright, bright yellow at the tops. So that's why I'm going from the opposite direction, if you happen to notice that. That's pretty cool. She needs a slightly longer blend right there. And then I think she looks pretty cool. All right, liking that. Whatever color we make the pants, that's what color we'll make those stripes on her shirt. And then all we have is her eyes and we'll be done. So we could go with maybe the black color like her hair, but without purple in it, I think would look really good. We could use blue, but let's try to keep our marker colors kind of down a little bit. So we'll stick with the same colors we did with her hair, but we're not going to add any of the purple. So let's go with N10, 8, 7, and we'll have 6 be our lightest color. We won't use the 5. That way it'll keep it a bit darker than the hair. But I think that'll bring it all together nicely. So N10. This is the darkest color, and I'm going to make sure her pockets get a little bit of that. And then, of course, I'm going to do the inside of her pants. And right along where that belt is, it'll make that purple belt stand out just a little bit more. And then I'm going to move down here to where her pants are folded. A little bit right here. Just sticking with the artist drawn lines. You can stick with them or not. It's up to you. You go down her pant legs just a little bit. Now it looks like she went to the bathroom in her pants. I'm sorry. But it won't stay like that, I promise. Now I'm going to put some of this black right around the flame areas so that it brightens it up as well. And that gets us the really dark color in there. I'm going to do it on the edges of the sides of this shirt. Just a little bit. Just a teeny bit. And then I'm going to switch to my N8. She's still going to be rather dark. But we're going to start moving out from some of the areas where the darkest colors would be. Extending it a little bit further. We'll keep the pockets darker. Kind of going down this side of the pants because the coat is kind of covering it up a little bit. So adding that in. This side's flaring up a bit more, so I'm not going to put as much over there. We're going to start doing a little bit in here. We'll do both sides. And then the inside of this leg. Kind of trying to keep that shadow all on the same side. So not going to put much on the other side right now. We'll extend on this side. We'll extend on this side. And then I'll just leave it like that for now. We're going to move to our N7. We have 2 colors left, 7 and 6. This is 7. So round the outside with this one. Starting to fill it in, leaving a little bit of space for the last color. So this is where you want to be really careful around here. Just make sure you don't get any of that black in with your yellow, because that will not be good. So you just want to just do it carefully and you should be fine. I'm going to start filling in some in the inside, keeping that middle section open for our last color. But notice how I made sure the lines are jagged so that it'll blend better together when we use the last color. If you make it smooth, it's a little bit harder. I'm going to leave that little zipper area. It always seems like they make those with the zipper a little bit lighter. I don't know why. I'm bringing attention to the zipper, but it is kind of that way. Careful around your flames. But make sure you don't leave any white space around the flames, because if you do, you will see them for sure. So I'm going around the edge, but then I want this to be a little jagged, so I'm coming back with a few more little brush strokes to make that a little bit more jagged. Then we'll work up here and here. Ooh, these almost look like slit black pants. That's pretty cool. She looks like she has leather pants on. This is N6. It's going to be our last color. So I'm going to go ahead and do these little parts up here first. I'm just barely going to touch them. Blend them together. It blends them together, but I just want you to be able to see the light and the dark. Just going to touch this little area right here and get that filled in. And then I'm going to work on this very light touch back and forth to get that to kind of blend, but I sort of want to see a little bit of that line going down there. So it's a little bit lighter than I want it to be. So I'm going to come back over one more time, but not blending back and forth the second time. So I just want to leave it lighter right here in the front versus the sides. So that is why I do it back and forth just to get the color in there. Don't go over the flames. And then we're going to come back in and just kind of build that in a little bit more. It's a very light touch. If you happen to get it too dark, you can come in with that N6 or N5 and lighten it up, and I'll show you what I mean. N5 is what we used on her hair. So if you came in here and you touched this center section with N5 a couple of times, I promise you it's going to get lighter. So just in case you got yours too dark, you can always come back in here and lighten this up a bit. It didn't work quite as well with that one. Maybe we need 4. Let's do 4 instead. This is N4, and it will do it here. You can watch the color move as I do it. Do you see it? So if you want that really light line, you can come back in with N4, build it in, and then you'll go back with your N5 and kind of soften up those edges so you can't see that like really obvious line. but it'll smooth that all out, and look, it'll have that line in there that you want. So if you go too dark, you can fix it. You can always fix it. You just use the colors to work to your benefit, whatever you need them to do. And 4 and 5, and we are going to make purple in her eyes because I like it. So we're going to use the V09 and the V15. I know it's crazy to have purple eyes, but I think it's going to look really cool. So I'm just going to put a little bit of this V09 at the top here, and then right over here on the side. This is a very, very tiny space, so you need to hold your marker upright so you can get very tiny little spots. That might take practice, so practice before you do it. Otherwise, you might color in too much of her eye that you don't want to do. So just be cautious to practice. See how tiny those dots are. As long as you can make really tiny dots, you should be able to get those colors in there really nicely. So I'm going to go down here. Don't worry if you cover up the little white in her eye, because you can just use your white gel pen to bring that back. So I never really worry too much about that. Because I'll just bring the white gel pen in and fix it. If I can find mine. I'm telling you guys, my desk is a mess. There it is. Is that white or is that? Yep, that's the white one. Okay, so I'm going to do the white in her eyes before I hold up to the camera so you guys can see it. Just because I want you to be able to see the full effect of the purple eyes. And then we'll put just a little bit more in here, like a little bit on her belt, some on the top of her shoes, so they kind of stand out. We could put a little bit on her jacket. I also don't always touch the paper when I'm working on these. Oops, I can get my hand out of the shadow. So there are her purple eyes, which you could see better if I used my multi-liner. And I'm going to use the one with a really tiny tip. So this is a 0.35. This is the tiniest one I have, I think. And I'm going to go back in, and you don't want to touch any of that white gel pen. I should have done this before I did the white gel pen, just because the white gel pen will ruin the nib of your multi-liner. So you should always do the black first. So don't do as I'm doing, just do as I'm saying. And I'm also going to do like the tops of her eyes, so they'll stand out a little bit more, and maybe a little bit under her eyes. It'll look like she's wearing eyeliner. I would say if you're not used to doing that, you want to practice that before you do it. Otherwise you might end up with too much on there. And now let me see if I can get it without that glare on there. You can see her eyes and her color. You could put mascara on her, or you could put anything you want. You could put eyeshadow, purple eyeshadow. Isn't she pretty? She's all pretty in her bright, you know, she could be a great Halloween, like magical Halloween image as well. So I will definitely make something out of her. I'm just not going to do it tonight because we've been on for quite a while, and I don't want to keep you guys hanging out. You could also put some white on here if you wanted her pant legs to show up a little bit more, but I don't really want to do that. So I am going to leave her just like this. She's super pretty. I like her. I think I'm going to give her some eyeshadow, because why not, you know? So I'm going to use this V12 and just put a little bit over her eyes. I kind of want to bring that purple out in her eyes a little bit more. I'm just lightly touching over the skin tone to bring a little bit of purple to those eyes. Isn't she awesome? I really, really like her, and she's super fun to color. So I hope you guys like her too, and I hope that you have a great evening. I will be back on Thursday, probably gonna do our superhero dog on Thursday. I swear, now that I've drawn this guy and colored him, I really feel like he should be on a motorcycle. I mean, I'm gonna have to draw him a motorcycle because I just can't even with him. I don't know why he looks like he should be on a motorcycle. It drives me crazy, but so I will be posting this on, thank you, Cheryl. I will be posting this video on YouTube, so if you want to rewatch, I'll have all the color combinations at the bottom, so you'll be able to use those. Make sure you like and subscribe. We really are trying to grow the channel, and we appreciate everybody watching. And this is the stamp set. These are the heroes. If you haven't seen them, there are villains as well, and they are right here somewhere, or they were. The villains have escaped. I think they have escaped. This is the paper pad. Oh, here they are. I found them wandering around. These are the villains. So we have heroes and villains and cool paper to go with it. I will make a card out of her. So when I post her on Facebook, I'll probably have her on a card. I just don't want to keep y'all here tonight. So this is what she looks like. This is the one on the package. So you can do them. They're different skin tones. You can do them in whatever color skin tone that you... Oh, look, I did her headband like that. I didn't even know I did that. Anyway, so thank you for joining me. I really appreciate it. You can't wait till the next release. Oh, man, let me tell you, every time I do a new release, I think I like it better than the last release. And this is one of my favorites. But I'm super excited about the next one, too. So I can't wait either. It's going to be the first weekend in September. Is that right? The Friday in September? Is that what we said? He's looking at the calendar real quick. So if you guys want to know when the next release is, hang on one second.
Coming off weekend thing. Yeah, it'll be
the
September 5th.
5th. The 5th. September 5th will be the next release. So we're raring it up to go, and we'll see you then. Love you guys. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you on Thursday. Good night. I hate when I don't know how to stop it.